and welcome to Build. My name is Rihanna Dillon and we are coming live from London. Today I am joined by some very special guests, the cast of The Last Kingdom. Please welcome Millie, Brady, Harry McEntire and Tim Innes. Welcome to Build. How are you all doing?
Very good, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Good. No, thank you so much for joining us. If you've got any questions for the cast, please do tweet us at BuildSeriesLDN, or if you're watching on Facebook, pop a comment in the box below and we will do our best to get those questions to these guys. So, how are you guys feeling about season 3 of The Last Kingdom?
So soon now.
Yeah.
Mad, yeah, super excited.
It's always a strange thing because you film it. We wrapped on it in May. And then you kind of sit there waiting for it, and you see little bits and bobs when you go in for edits and stuff like that. But this is going to be the first time that we have an opportunity to see it, and we can't wait to see it. So
the first 2 seasons are already available on Netflix, so it is really easy to catch up. For anyone who hasn't seen them, can you sort of bring us up to speed a little bit with what's gone on in the show so far?
You're the best.
So, what's gone on in the show so far?
It's a hard question, there's so much.
All of it.
Yeah.
Uhtred of Bebbanburg is a Saxon raised by Danes who finds himself in the centre of Alfred's court at the time at which Alfred the Great is coming to power as the King of Wessex, with a dream of unifying England into a single kingdom. And their relationship is very adversarial, and yet there's a mutual need at the heart of it. And through series 1 and 2, we've seen Uhtred play a central role in the battles that are taking Alfred ever closer to realising his dream of building an England. But there are still many hurdles left, and now with Alfred's health beginning to fail him, really, I think kind of the central tension of this series is his legacy and trying to pave the way for his son, Edward, played by Tim, to follow in his footsteps.
You nailed that.
Thank you so much. I have been in it for 3 years.
I think we've actually got a clip, so that will give us a little bit more of the flavour as well. Let's have a look.
I see the death of a king.
And with him, his kingdom. It is he who must rule. Uhtred of Bebbanburg.
War is coming. Danes march in numbers from north to south. When I am gone, my son will need you, Uhtred.
King's health worsens.
The king's illness is creating enemies of Wessex.
I offer unrest and disloyalty towards Alfred.
The kingdom of Wessex will surrender or burn.
Kings will be made and kings will die.
The crown is all important.
I do not wish to become king.
It is your duty.
Tonight, Lord, you will break your oath to Alfred.
I gave you glory.
You must undo the past.
You must destroy Alfred.
Looks so exciting. Can you tell us a little bit more about each of your characters? Tim, let's start with you.
Yeah, so Edward's new to the series. Well, as a baby, he was in the first series, but that wasn't
you,
me.
Right?
No. There's me looking melancholic near a fire. So Edward is the son of King Alfred, and he is placed under so much importance to carry on the crown and legacy, and he's put under a lot of, as a teenager, duty and all these things which he has to kind of live up to, which I think is kind of accessible to anyone growing up as a teenager and having quite a lot of expectations put upon you. And so it's quite a universal message, and it wasn't hard to kind of step into the character, because I think everyone knows what that is and what the kind of theme of identity is and who you are, and if you are what other people say you are, and finding your own way through your kind of journey through life.
It's his GCSE year, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did you spend a lot of time looking melancholic at a fire when you
Yeah, I spent at least 25 minutes before the camera rolled, just sat near a fire and just thought of Wessex and thought of England. Yeah. So Edward's a cool guy.
Oh, it sounds it. Millie, tell us about your character.
So this season you see Ethelfled. She's grown up since last season. I think in a few ways, this season kind of sees her rise up against her husband, and the two of them, obviously their relationship is still so strained and tempestuous, and but she's now become she's a Lady of Mercia, and she's in charge of this kingdom with her horrid husband. And
there's always a horrid husband.
Yeah. And it's just this season there's a real sort of growth in her becoming this warrior. She's stepping into her role as warrior. You see lots of similarities with Ethelfled and her father, and the way that their brains work and things like that. So that's where it's sort of going this season for her.
And Harry?
So I think in the first two series, Ethelwald hopefully grew from being a bit of a twerp to a bit of a twit. And now...
Such a journey.
Yeah. And now I think this year he's a little bit more sophisticated, hopefully. He has tried to play the game. Oh, look at him. Bless him. He's tried to play the game, and he's tried to do the right thing, to work with Alfred rather than against him. And then with the potential of missing out on the crown again through it potentially passing to Edward rather than him, it forces his hand, and it makes him take some pretty bold decisions. So he becomes potentially a more powerful player in the series this year, which was very satisfying because particularly to have been on it since the beginning. Been on it since the beginning.
Did you mention?
But to have been on it since the beginning and to start a character somewhere, and to by this point for them to be somewhere quite different is a really lovely thing.
Tim, like you're saying, this is like your sort of first series. What was it like that first day on set, sort of coming into, I guess, like already like a family? That must have been quite intimidating.
Yeah, it was like being the new kid at school.
Yeah.
And there was nerves, there was anxiety, but at the end of the day, there was just love. Everyone was welcoming, the cast, the crew, the producers, especially, which made the set just feel like home, and it really did feel like a family. I think when I first met David, who plays my dad, he did say those exact words, "Welcome to the family."
Oh, that's really cute.
And I thought, oh, that's just him being nice. And then it was really like that. And the fact that we're spending all the time with each other as it's filmed in Hungary, we grew closer and closer.
Tell me about filming in Hungary. Like, that must have been insane.
Cold.
Was it?
And also very hot.
Yeah, both.
Confusing.
They have proper seasons, so it's -15 or plus 35, 40.
But it's almost like they just have two seasons, because you'll wake up one day, it would have just been snowing, and then they're like, oh, it's summer now. And then it's absolutely boiling.
But nights out also in Hungary are pretty messy, right? Did you guys get a
Karaoke. A lot of karaoke was done.
We did. We hired a karaoke room, which was
Me and Harry won.
one of the finest nights of my life. Yeah. Where we.
What was your song?
We did "Bring Me to Life" by Evanescence.
Yeah.
Which you're now going to perform for us.
Which we absolutely we are.
Yeah.
But I did the rap parts.
And I actually morphed into Evanescence.
Yeah, it was amazing. And there's 4 of them in the band, so she really did do well.
Are you serious? You not? Can you give us a little taste of the
No,
rap?
absolutely
Come
not.
on.
No, there's a rap bit though. There was a rap bit which didn't turn up on the karaoke. Didn't turn up. Didn't throw me. I was an emo. You know, I knew the words, so that was a thrill. But no, it's an amazing place to work. It's a beautiful city, Budapest, where we shoot, and we've been there for a while, and we know it. And there's great places to go out. It's really historic. It's a brilliant, when family and friends come out and visit, it's a kind of compact enough place that you can take them around. You know, we can see the sights, and yeah, it's really good. It starts to struggle a little bit in sort of April, when all the British stag parties come out and ruin it a bit. But you know, it's a great place to shoot, and we've had a lot of the same crew over 3 years. So we found ourselves working with probably 80% of the people on it have been on it since series 1, and that's a really special thing. So
Is that quite rare?
I think. I mean, I haven't ever made it to series 3 of a show before. I've done a couple of 2s. But I think it is quite rare, and you know, you stay in touch with makeup artists that you've been working with, and costume people, and they're a very, very talented, dedicated group of people who work on the show, and everyone is kind of appreciating and supporting each other's work, and it's a really lovely atmosphere in which to do the job.
How much did you immerse yourself in Bernard Cornwell's The Saxon Stories beforehand? Did you do that sort of research before you started on The Last Kingdom, which is what it's based on?
I read them. I read as many of the books as I could.
Was
Just
it
to
helpful?
It was. But you know, where in the end you have to stay faithful to Stephen's script, and there were points when I'd read something about Edward, and it kind of jarred with what Stephen's writing, just because it would have been different in a screenplay. But I did find it helpful, and it's just reading about the history and the leadership that like King Alfred did, and it's just kind of strange that now within the last like 24 hours, sorry to bring politics into it, but the fact that all this stuff is happening, which it totally correlates to what was going on at that time with multicultural societies and people coming and going, and it's very universal how that's kind of happening today.
And sorry, go on.
No, the only thing I'd say about the books, I've read the first 6 or 7, and I read them before we did series 1, and I quickly realised that the books weren't going to be quite relevant in the same way, because Ethelwald is described as he was strong and tall, with long dark hair that fell to his shoulders and eyes that attracted the attention of serving girls. And
surely the latter, at least.
And I thought they've gone a different way on this, and it's maybe not going to be too helpful for me to get married to that particular description.
Absolutely love that. Because like you say, it's sort of partly based on historical events, but obviously relies a lot on artistic license as well. Millie, was there anything that you learned about that era of history that really surprised you, because you thought, this can't be real, but it was?
Well, I think what's been most amazing to play is an actual. She was our first queen, if you will, and so that was one of the main things for me, that I was like, this is a cool bit of history, and the character that I'm playing is, amazing. But I think what also is so interesting about it, that it's split into 7 kingdoms. It's not really one England unified as it is now, but the whole story, I guess, is building upon that and how it was formed. And so they were 2 things that I didn't actually know about. I think at school you didn't really learn, well, I certainly didn't learn about this period in our history. And it is such a rich part of our history, and like how it was formed, how the England we know was formed. And yeah, I think all of us were just loving having the history lesson of it, because it seems mad that it's not taught.
Especially Ethelfled, we hardly know anything about her, and yet she did so much. Like, there needs to be more taught about her in schools, definitely.
Do you think that programmes like The Last Kingdom are sort of making younger generations a bit more interested in that sort of history? Because like you say, it's mainly kind of World War II at school. And
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to watch Bernard's other series. I used to watch Sharp when I was younger, which was Napoleonic War, and I got really into that. And I think anything that is a sort of gateway into learning more about that kind of thing, anything that inspires people to maybe go away and look into it further is a really brilliant thing. But ultimately, what we are trying to do is create a piece of entertaining television that hopefully is enriched by the fact that it's set in something tangible and something historical, but primarily it has to be fun.
Yeah, the battle scenes are sick.
Oh my God, they are incredible. Can you tell me about what that's like to film? Did you have to learn loads of stunts for that? Was it all doubles or?
There was horse riding. There was sword fighting. There was.
Tim fell over.
Oh, Tim fell over, and also Tim is too sophisticated a fighter, because I remember this was one of the first days that we worked together. Tim, there's a scene where one of the first. This isn't a spoiler, I don't think. The early scenes where we see Tim, you're having a little bit of sword fighting practice, and Tim and Adrian Boucher, who plays Stiapa, the Bouche, they were having their little sword fighting thing, and Tim was really going for it, to the extent that he smashed 2 prop swords. Now, these prop swords are incredibly robust. I broke a dagger once by doing I tried to do a cartwheel, and my sword handle got caught and it stuck off in my scabbard. But I've never seen anyone just smash it. And Tim smashed 2 swords, and I said, "Why are you doing that?" And he said, "Well, he used to be a really, really high-level fencer," and so. He didn't tell it. He did not tell you. No, yeah, Tim was a really good fencer. Tim was a really good fencer, but when you're fencing, it's all a little bit more. What's the word? What's a nice word for it?
Elegant.
Elegant, right? And our fight director had said, "You're being too elegant." So Tim had taken him at his word and was just smashing 7 shades out of Bouche.
I heard someone whisper Daniel Day-Lewis in the crew. I heard that somewhere. But yeah, I smashed 2 swords, and
that's your legacy.
That's my legacy.
I think one of the first things I said to you on set was "calm down."
Millie, was there anything on set that you loved so much that you stole?
What did
I love that it's not a straight no as well.
You stole something. I think I've actually asked for a lot of things that I haven't been let. So I might just have to go down the stealing route now.
Yeah, swipe it.
Did you steal?
Well, I didn't swipe. What happened was this.
There's always a story with Harry. That's what I love.
There's my character wears a ring in this series, and I really liked it. So I thought I thought I'm having that. But we have repeats, but I have one of them, or I had one of them. I don't know if I told you this, but tragically, it fell out my pocket. Fell out my pocket on the banks of the Thames.
I just remembered that I did accidentally steal a dagger.
Right, that's more troubling than knowingly stealing a ring, is that you tried to smuggle a weapon through customs.
But it got through customs.
That is worrying.
So, but I mean, it was plastic, but I'd taken it home to practice with, stuffed it in my handbag, and I got back to London, was unpacking, and I just found this dagger in my bag.
Whoa.
I mean, that could have gone very, very wrong.
Yeah.
It's a good confession.
Last Kingdom star in Weapon Shock.
What projects have you guys got coming up next? Tim, you're in something in Ashes in the Snow.
Oh, yeah.
Which I just wanted to talk about because I read the book and I loved it, so I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, it's another period of history that I just had no idea about.
Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, in kind of around World War II, there was a lot of people transported to Serbia from Lithuania, and thousands and thousands of people died, and it was something that is hugely a part of Lithuanian history, and no one else knows about. And in the book, the film adaptation of the book, it just describes that story, and the character of which Belle Powley plays is and her kind of journey through that. But yeah, it's a really, really cool story.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Millie, what have you got coming up next?
I've got a film coming out called Samaria, which is part of a Swedish trilogy of short stories where I'm playing Girl That Goes Missing. So I think that's the next one to come out. And then at the moment I'm filming again in Budapest.
Oh, is this
serendipitous?
What's that for?
It's for another Netflix show called The Witcher.
Oh, incredible.
Which I'm very excited about because I play the game. not in the show, I play the game and I'm thrilled.
Okay. And Harry, I know that you've done a lot of theatre already. I saw you in Spring Awakening probably about 10 years ago.
It was 10 years ago, wow.
Which is brilliant. So have you got any more theatre plans?
No, I did a play earlier in the summer at the Finborough Theatre, which went very well, and maybe that might happen again. That would be exciting if it did. And then a film that I shot years and years ago has just become available on iPlayer. It's called Unconditional, which as I say, shot it in 2010. We shot it for no money up in Newcastle. It's a really interesting story about this unusual love story between two guys, and it sort of we took it to a load of film festivals, and then it had a few nights at the BFI, and we were hoping it would get a cinema release, and then iPlayer bought it, and they've just put it on, so that's available for people to watch now, which is really cool.
Amazing.
And other than that, I'm doing the book at bedtime for Radio 4.
Hey!
What? I'm reading the Adrian Mole books for Radio 4.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Life,
I love
mate.
all that.
Look at Tim's face.
It's great.
So
It's great. I'm doing them on
happy.
Monday. They're out. They're on at the moment. You can listen to me tonight.
Oh, I'm gonna listen to you every time I go to sleep.
10:30 or 10:45. I can't remember when.
So obviously, without ruining the ending of Series 3, is there a Season 4 lined up of The Last Kingdom?
We actually don't know.
We don't know.
Oh.
We don't know. There are more books. I mean, there's more stories to tell, and there's the obviously things that happen in this series. There are huge events in this series, really massive seismic shifts, and to see where all that has been taken in another series would be brilliant, but I don't think we've heard anything official. I think that, hopefully they'd like to make more. If people enjoy watching it, then hopefully there will be more. Please watch.
Please watch. Yeah, please, absolutely watch.
Straight down the barrel. Watch it. Watch.
And you can watch it on seasons 1 and 2, and 3 is dropping on Netflix on Monday. So please make sure you check it out. And also join us on Monday as we speak to superstar chef Jizzy Erskine. But for now, please give it up one more time for the cast of The Last Kingdom.